Hello, sweethearts, and welcome to week 5 of the Let's Play Apple Tower competition. Our theme this week, important. So this is Earthbound, released in 1995 on the SNES. It's the second game in the Mother series, preceded by Mother 1, which was eventually released on Wii U Virtual Console legally here as Earthbound Beginnings, something I'm very glad about. The same cannot be said for its follow-up, Mother 3, which has yet to receive an international release, but has a nice fan translation. We're going to come back to Mother 3 at the end of all this, but Earthbound. I think it's important, but we need to take a step back and define that importance. In its original release, Earthbound only sold about 140,000 copies. Didn't quite make the money that Nintendo poured into it, so it kind of flopped in that regard, and as such, it's not really the biggest influence in the history of video games. It's not like Super Mario Bros. Or Tetris, where it was an amazing landscape-altering game that sold 10 zillion machines. Even in its own genre, it's not the biggest innovator, I'm sad to say. You could look to something like the original Dragon Quest, which kickstarted the entire concept of the JRPG as we know it, or Final Fantasy VII, which brought it into the mainstream, screaming with CGI-rendered brilliance. No. Earthbound's importance stems from its influence on the people who played it and loved it. Myself included. Now, on StocksMakePeopleSexy.net, there's a lovely write-up about Earthbound done by Pitchfork. I could quote the entire thing, but I'm going to quote one little sentence in particular. Earthbound was designed to be a voyage, rather than to tell a story. This is very important. Unquote. That's what Earthbound is to me. It's a voyage. It's a cult classic of a game that took the people who played and enjoyed it on this voyage that they're really still undertaking. What Earthbound lacks in influence, it makes up for easily with charm, ingenuity, and heart. And well, this is me gushing about Earthbound. But even that's hard to do. It's hard for me to pin down exactly why I love Earthbound. It's just a constant in my world. The sky is blue, the grass is green. Earthbound's a fun little game that I can throw on anytime and have a good time with. It's a feel-good game. It's a comfort game. I've played a little bit ahead here. Not too far, just getting past the opening bits to actually show off some dungeon and boss fights and whatnot. So we're going to try that, and we're starting off at our home with our main character, Ness, who is a bit leveled up, but not at full strength. So what to do about that? Why don't we talk to our mom and ask for a nice home-cooked meal? Now, you can name the meal at the beginning of the game. I chose donair, which is an Atlantic Canadian Greek delicacy, not unlike a gyro or a shawarma, but it's kind of different. The point is, I love the food. I named the food in the game after the food that I love, and now, whenever I want, I can come back to my home in the game and eat my favorite food. It's a comfort. It's a nice little bit of security. Or you could be an immature 12-year-old and name the food Dix. Whatever you like. Also, boop. Yeah. See, I'm so over-leveled that I could beat that snake in like one turn. So the game actually recognizes that, and it just lets you auto-win those fights. So that's a neat feature that more RPGs should do. So Ness here is off to stop the evil Gygus from taking over the world in the future by gathering power from 8 spots in the world called Your Sanctuary locations. And to get to the first one, Giant Step, we need to beat the local gang, the Sharks, these dorks right here, who attack you just for walking up and talking to them, bouncing on their stupid goddamn pogo sticks. Anyway, the battle system is basically a Dragon Quest clone. Mother 1 did this as well, but Mother 2 adds the swirly backgrounds, which is nice. What I like about Earthbound, and a lot of people like, is that it does have a urban setting instead of swords and sorcery, so that's unique. Mother 1 did the same thing too. And we learned a new power, which I also named after the competition. Another special bit of charm. You can name it after your favorite thing, so whatever you love the most is an offensive blasting move that wrecks enemies. Isn't that great? So we get to go into this arcade, beat up some more sharks, and I cut away from that one because he was just another Pogo Punk, and you've seen those. Also, I think that's Donkey Kong there in the middle machine. Cute. I'll be a snob whenever I want, you goddamn sharks. I admit I'm a little over-leveled for this bit, but it'll balance out once we actually get to the first-year sanctuary location, so... yeah. Anyway, here's the boss of the sharks hanging out in a grass field behind the arcade. He's Frank. And, ooh, big swirl. And he's got a knife, and we've got a bat, and we're going to beat him over the head, and he's going to swear at us. Bloody murder, because we're beating him over the head with a goddamn bat. It's nothing. Yeah, 3 turns. See? I'm over-leveled. It's okay. It's okay, because it'll balance out. Besides, this boss fight's not quite over, because he's got a mole tank thing. Whatever. Throw some tarot cards in his face. I don't care. That's something interesting. The boss has 91 HP. Almost one-shotted him. Like I told you, I'm over-leveled. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. It's good. So, now that Frank's beaten, we get to talk to the mayor, get the key to go to Giant Step, and then we're going to go to Giant Step. So while we're doing all that, we're going to waffle a bit about Earthbound and importance. Now, I first played this game in about 2001. I was a teenage ROM fiend, and I got a bunch of ROMs on a burnt CD. They were too big for a floppy disk, so it was like Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, Mario RPG. I think Final Fantasy V was there too. Seminal classics that any young teen enjoying Super Nintendo RPGs in the new millennium should have. Earthbound really stood out because, well, like I said, had a lot of charm to it. And it was fun. And it was funny. That's mostly thanks to the writing by Shigesato Itoi, who's a Japanese copywriter who is famous over in Japan. And he's very good at writing funny dialogue that you want to read. So, there's that. And the entire game is eclectic. Not only is the soundtrack all over the goddamn place with all these influences, but, like, you go everywhere. You go fight zombies. You go beat up cultists. You have a bad acid trip. You have a couple of bad acid trips, in fact. You fight dinosaurs. There's just so much shit that happens. But it's a good game. And its influence stemmed to a lot of people. It is a cult classic. And I say that quite literally, because I'm speaking of a popular website, Starman.net, that cropped up to show its appreciation for the series, especially after Mother 1's English prototype got dumped on the internet as a NES-ROM back in the late 90s, so that helped boost importance of Earthbound as well. But Starman is most known for its persistence in trying to get the Earthbound series more recognized by Nintendo. Their frequent calling campaigns and petitions and whatnot. Put Mother on the Game Boy Color. Get Mother 64 out, which Mother 64 got shit canned, but eventually became Mother 3 in 2006, so that didn't pan out as well. Put Mother 3 out on here. Put Earthbound on Virtual Console, which Earthbound did eventually get on Virtual Console, even though it kind of looked grim for a while. And we even got Earthbound Beginnings, which was a total surprise and, as I said, overjoyed me. Mother 3's 10th anniversary is in 19 days as of this recording. So, fingers crossed, I guess, for a US release. No. So, Earthbound was important to me, but I wanted a copy for the longest time, but I couldn't get one because, due to it being a flop, there was a high demand for it, and therefore, prices for an Earthbound cart are fucking outrageous. But thanks to a lovely friend of mine, Miss Stella, she sold me her copy of Earthbound with the giant strategy guidebook that came with it. Probably one of the reasons it flopped, because it came in a huge box. But Earthbound and guide for a price that I probably could not have gotten just the loose cart with. She gave me a hella deal, and I can't thank her enough for it. It's great. And actually, to talk more about Stella, she actually did a wild thing. Is that she tried a 1/128 file. We're in Giant Step, too. Just fighting a mouse. He's a scary thing, but we're fine. So 1/128 file is when you try to get all the rare drops in the game. There's one famous one, which is the Sword of Kings, which is the only weapon one of your later party members can equip. And it's a very rare thing, and it can take a while to get. I took about 2 or 3 hours to get it. Another friend of mine, who we're going to bring up later on, 2 twice in a row, Jesus, took about 8 hours to get it. So, God. But Stella, she managed to get almost all the items. All but one. And oh yeah, this game has an auto fight too. That's really helpful when you just want to wail on things without having to mash A. She got almost all of them except the very last one. And last fall, I was sticking around with the cart. I loaded up her 1/128 file, found the enemy that had the rare drop. 3 fights later, I had it. We completed the 1/128 rare drop file together. And isn't that just nice? I think that's nice. But that is just part of the enduring legacy of Earthbound, is that fans of the series can just bond like that. Like Stella and I, we really bonded over Earthbound. We can talk Earthbound all day and every day if we like. Well, we're talking about other stuff, mostly the fact that Stella's now my DM for tabletop stuff, so... She got me a good RPG, she got me into tabletop RPGs. How about that? No. The most important thing about Earthbound, and its importance to me, well, I could tell you that, but we're gonna wait, because we're coming up to the boss, so anticipation is in order. Every Your Sanctuary location is guarded by a boss, and those are just some silly slugs again. We leveled up, so we're great, we're in good shape. We're in good shape. We even got that magic butterfly, which restored all our psychic points, so 30, we've got 3 blasts of PSI Tarot Alpha. That's great. I'm just fighting as much as I can, and I actually won that one, because I guess I could beat these slugs in one hit now when there's only one of them, so... Wow, this is really helpful. Of course, those cookies barely heal anything, and they just take up your inventory, so there's that. But here we are. This is the first boss. He's a bit impatient. I'm going to take the power of the sacred spot for myself and fight Titanic Ant. Blast the thing with tarot magic. It's flanked by those black antoids, and they'll try to cast healing magic, but you just one blast will get it. It has about 230 HP. You want to blast it with as much of your psychic power as you can, because it can do a little trick, even though it's not actually doing it, and resorting to biting me for about 20 odd damage. So I actually managed to get all 3 blasts in on the thing, which really whittled down its HP. It's like 1 hit from death. We're going to heal, just in case. And that's why I wanted to use them all. I wanted to wait that move, because that actually nullifies your psychic attacks. And it might make its defense higher, but it doesn't matter, because 1 hit is dead. Pretty gear background, though. Anyway, that's it. That's Titanic Ant beat. That's the first Your Sanctuary boss, and now we can take the power of the place for ourselves by heading on up. So let's just do that. Okay. Now that we've got the power, it's time to tell you why Earthbound is so goddamn important to me. Alright, so Earthbound made me a fan of the series. I made friendships with other fans of the series. And in 2007, one of those fans linked me to a video on Starman.net that a user named Poik007 made. A French guy who liked Mother 3 and decided to play it for the internet on video with commentary. This was before it was ever fan translated, so he gave his rough approximations of what was going down, and now Lucas is saying this, or whatever. This was the first brush I had with Let's Play. I liked it. I really did. I watched all of Poik, and then my friend linked me to more stuff. More Let's Plays from Something Awful. I loved them. I loved them so much that in 2008, I started making them myself. And, well, that's one of the best decisions I've ever made. Because, look at me now. I've made maybe dozens of friends from this. Hundreds of people, thousands, according to the numbers, have watched my shit and loved it. I have enriched, very slightly, thousands of lives by this. By doing this Let's Play bullshit. I've enriched my own life by doing it. I've made friendships that could last a lifetime. Thanks to Let's Play. Thanks to Poik007 making Mother Let's Play. And none of that would be possible without Earthbound. So Earthbound is the reason I am playing video games for the internet and making this video. And if that's not fucking important, I don't know what is. It also helps that Earthbound is just a really fun game. I've tried my best to explain that it's great, but it's sort of inexplicable in some way. It is just a constant. Earthbound's great. If you don't like Earthbound, well, that's fine. There are other games I'm sure are important to you, but this one is very important to me, and a great little RPG to boot. And I think that will about wrap it up for week 5 of the Let's Play Apple Tower competition. I'm Freezing Inferno. I wouldn't be making this if this game didn't exist. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Shigesato Itoi. And thank you for tuning in. Good night. Sleep tight.